me. I'll be the phenom, a speech for a nominal fee. Pay homage to me, whether or not I got the prestige. The East Oakland author who's off of the seeds. And talk to the streets for talking on beats. I hope you touched I got enough pull to keep y'all in my reach. I call it the squeeze, got the juice, got the release. I drop heat, been set up for all my degrees. Phenomenal man phenomenally. Man phenomenally, yeah. I'm in line with this, saying man, am I legit? Name brand conglomerate, name stays anonymous. All over the globe, I sail away on the continent. Always saying my homes, I'm reclaiming my mind again. About to cross over from the lines of acknowledging. Bridging over waters in the fight with Leviathan. 5 men, hot-headed when using my hyacinths. Violently at the fair when advancing the sciences. Not for you, player, checking on your appliances. Trying to make sure that big brother is honest. Staying in the mind is scared and they're living. I'm in the fair, flaring the fair with Blair witches. Moving air with prayer, cherishing clear vision of judgment. Every line's a fair sentence. Ain't no giving in. I made my peace with oblivion. How you feeling, friend? How you feeling, friend? Have you made your peace with oblivion? Ain't no giving in. How you feeling, friend? How you feeling, friend? Have you made your peace with oblivion? Ain't no giving in. Ain't no giving in. Ain't no giving in. Ain't no giving in. Fear of oblivion. To look around and count your blessings. Looked around, decided to live and dispense with all the stressing. Have you looked up and seen everything beautiful? Like my daughter. She went from in utero to writing computer code. And truth be told, I didn't even want no kids, but it's funny how you once on the line with an untold bliss.
We are a hip-hop orchestra based in Oakland, California, comprised of flute, clarinet, violin, cello, piano, upright bass, drums, a hip-hop MC, turf dancer, and a lyric soprano.
When we talk about the future of music, and if we were talking about this 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 months ago, and even the conversations I've been having with colleagues over the last week or two, the thing that keeps coming up over and over and over is the future of almost anything is in the diversity in the repertoire, the diversity in the process, the diversity in the backgrounds of the people coming together to actually create things. And what the two of you have done seems to be almost the greatest actual realization of that kind of diversity. How did this come together?
It came to me as, at first, like a protest piece, protest music. What I mean by that is that when I was towards the end of my undergrad studies, studying composition, I felt that, after you learn basic techniques, you were getting into the realm of aesthetics. So you're learning, okay, this is the way to be avant-garde. I had to seriously think about what I did because, I thought I was a serious composer. I need to do this, but then I was sick of it. So I didn't know even hip hop. I not only did not know hip hop, I did not like hip hop. So And I had actually went back and listened to hip hop and treated hip hop with respect, as much as respect that I had for, Western avant-garde classical music. And then I had a conversion experience when I listened to NWA's Straight Outta Compton. I felt like I was dipped into the river of hip hop and reborn as a free musician.
When I got involved in EMN, I kind of thought about how people look at music or things in this country, and ultimately it generally kind of boils down to race. And then sometimes that boils down even further to money and class and so on and so forth. So I was like, okay, well, how do we get butts in seats? How do we get press to actually look at this type of thing? So the minute we started going to kind of giving the more story elements of what this ensemble looks like and what this ensemble kind of represents in this grand scheme of American culture, we started to get more traction from press and people. And then we also got some pushback from purists in the hip hop sphere, more specifically.
I've heard you talk about method sampling for some time. What is that?
Method sampling is this idea that it actually came out of the idea of sampling, right? So I extrapolate the idea and realized actually that much like hip hop producers that take elements from, literal material from the, records that are older, they find it in the crates, dig the crates, and then, they manipulate them by stretching them or chopping them really, really fine, shortly, and then inverting them or, going backward and then put the beat on it. So you're making things with stuff that you already have, actually. You just find it, and then you have to reframe it, and then it becomes something new. I said, I'm going to use all this craft that I know, and with that, I'm going to make hip-hop music, the opposite thing. So then what happens? If I use stuff that I know really well, but go to a completely different environment as an aesthetic environment, an aesthetic sort of system, and then try to emulate it, you actually invent new things. You can innovate this way.
It's so hard to surprise or innovate in that way, Innovation is often this idea of technology, but innovation in terms of the way we connect or the way we present something, man, when that happens and you can surprise someone, there's nothing better. You have a real new, genuinely new relationship, and it's a two-way relationship.
And that's different than what European composers have been doing. There's something about crowdsourcing and opening things up that creates much more power than single person dictating what is going to be done, what's this way. Method sampling is essentially that. You can source from differences, and differences become power in a very specific way, because differences can be used against us to divide us, but differences can be used to create something really cool.